Alright, this is a quick demonstration of my SQLite table creation tool. This is a Python program that takes any Excel file or CSV file and can convert it into a SQLite table and store it in either a new database or a already existing database that you would like to update. So I have a couple sample files here to demonstrate. We have a cropyields.csv, a cropyields Excel file, and a farmers Excel file. So we're just going to get right into it and show you exactly what this can do. So I'm going to call the program by doing Python SQL table creation tool.py. That's going to start up the program. As you see here, it's just stating they can either take an Excel or CSV file and convert it to a table. You can type quit at any time, terminate the program. So first thing we need to do is designate the file path and name for the database that you would like to use. Now we don't currently have a database created for the data that we want to put in here, so we're going to create one. Just specifying the file name, farming.db, will create one in the same location as this program. So as you can see, no database with this path exists. A new database will be created. Okay. So now we need to enter the file path for the Excel or CSV file you would like to convert. Now, if your data, of course, is stored somewhere other than the folder that your Python tool is stored in, then you'll need to designate the full path name. But since these files exist inside the same folder, all we have to do is type cropyields.xlsx for an Excel file. Now we need to enter a name for the table, and we can just call this crops. And note that if you use the name of a table that already exists, it will overwrite that table with the new data that you are selecting. And so after it creates the table, it then lists a name of all of the columns and allows you to create a primary key for the table. You can also make multiple selections in order to create a composite key if you need to. So we're just going to do it off the ID column, make that the primary key. So I'm going to type ID and hit enter. It said it's added as a primary key, and since we only want to use that as a primary key, we're just going to go ahead and hit done. And it tells us that the primary keys are added to crops successfully, and then asks if we would like to add another table to the database. So yes will take us back to select another file, and no will terminate the program. We're going to select yes, and it's going to ask for another file path for another Excel or CSV file. And this time we're going to use the farmers.xlsx file, and we're going to call this table farmers. And so here, I'm going to give you an example of how to do a composite key, right? Obviously we would want to use farmer ID as the primary key. I know you guys haven't seen this data, but that seems like a pretty obvious column to use as a primary key, right? So we're going to go ahead and do farmer ID. But let's say we wanted to make a composite key of the farmer ID and the name for whatever reason. We could go ahead and select name as well. And after we've selected both of the keys we want to use for our composite key, we can now hit done, and there we can go. Primary keys, farmer ID, name, added to table farmers successfully. Then it says, would you like to add another table to the database? We're going to choose no for now, and that's going to terminate the program. And now I'm going to open up our DB browser, open database, and we're going to take a look at the database that we just created with this tool. So here it is, the farming.db database. We'll open it up, and as you can see, we have two tables here. We have the crops table with all the data from the crops Excel sheet, and we have the farmers table, same exact thing, farmer ID, name, country, yield, so on and so forth. The program will also maintain the same data types where possible. So we can see that the IDs are integers and names are text. But as you can see here at the end, for the farmers table, the primary key is a combination of the farmer ID and name. And then up here for the crops table, we can see that the primary key is ID. So just a quick check in the modified table, you can see ID is marked as a primary key, and for farmers, same thing. Both of these are marked as primary keys, therefore creating a composite key. So let me go ahead and close this database out and jump back into the program real quick, just to show you a little bit of extra things that I added. So remember, we called that database farming.db, so when it asks for a database we'd like us to use, we choose an existing one, farming.db, we can see database found, you may now update it. So once again, it's going to ask us to enter a file path. So let's say, you know, you typo or something, and we call this farming.xlsx. It's going to say invalid file path, please try again. So there's a fail-safe in place that will not allow you to select a, you know, it won't crash the program if you type the wrong file name. It will just, you know, ask you to try again. So this time we're actually going to use the crop yields.csv file, just to show you guys that CSV is also valid. So now we're going to enter a name for the table. We'll call this one crops2. And for this one, I would like to show you guys, in the event that you try to use a column that a column for a primary key that does not have unique values. Let's say the you know, the year column is not going to be a column of unique values, so therefore it would fail as a primary key. And it looks like it goes through here, but whenever you type done, it's actually going to tell you that you cannot set columns year as primary key because the unique constraint failed. So it says rolling back changes, table restored without primary key changes. So in the event that you attempt to try to make a primary key out of a column that does not have unique values, it simply doesn't. At some point I'd like to go back in and recode it so that you have the opportunity to select another key, but right now it's just going to create that table without the key. And if you need to actually select one for a key, you just need to go through the motions again to actually select the primary, or, you know, the correct primary key. So I'm going to do crop yields.csv once again as a file name, and we're going to call it crops2. So we're actually going to overwrite the file we just made, but use the correct primary key, which is the ID column, and hit done. And there we can see it successfully did it. And now when we go back and open this database, you know, we obviously aren't going to have two columns or two tables named crops2, but instead we have one table named crops2 with a primary key. So what it did was it simply just overwrote the data that already existed there with a table that does have the correct primary key. So I think that basically touches on everything, other than the fact that at any point during the program you can just type quit and hit enter, and it will force quit the program, like it explained at the beginning, in case you mess something up, you just want to start from fresh again. But that in essence is how this program works. It's just a simple way to take some sort of Excel sheet or CSV file that you already have and quickly turn it into a SQLite database, instead of having to write all of the select statements out of the information that you have. You can just feed that Excel sheet straight into the program to get an immediate database made out of it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and that will be the end of the demonstration.